6 p.m. I'm calling the Select Board Sewer Commissioners meeting to order. All members are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, so we have a public hearing that starts at 6, so we're going to start our night a little out of order, and we're going to start with our public hearing. Mark, will you read?
Select Board, the Select Board of the Town of West Boylston will hold a public hearing on the application of Weibo Seafood, Inc., 321 West Boylston Street, West Boylston, Mass. 01583, for a change of category from beer and wine to all alcohol license. The public hearing will be held on Wednesday, March 4th, 2025, at 6 p.m. at 140 Worcester Street, Room 210, West Boylston, Mass. 01583. For additional information or to review the proposed application, please contact the Town Administrator's Office at 774-261-4012. All interested persons, groups, and agencies are invited to attend and participate. This meeting will be held hybrid via Zoom. Address on the notice: Christina Pedoni, Select Board Chair, February 14th and 21st in the item.
Thank you. Do you know if anyone is coming from Seafood?
I don't believe so.
Okay. There's nothing outstanding, say, that's,
I think we need people to mute.
everyone online, could you mute, please? One of the kids want a napkin.
So there's nothing outstanding with this. This is a simple change from beer and wine to all alcohol.
So all that's needed in front of us, is there anyone in the public that would like to make any comments on this? I thought you were all here for that.
I thought that was all done.
I mean, I am here for it.
All right, so, any questions, concerns, anything from the board? Hearing none, we just need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second?
No, we need to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
So moved and
So
seconded. or
moved,
something?
yeah. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Raj?
Yes.
Jay?
Yep.
I'm a yes. Mark?
Yes.
Vanessa?
Yes.
All right, now, unless there's further discussion, Vanessa, could you like to make a motion?
Yep, a motion to approve the liquor license.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Raj?
Yes.
Jay?
Yep.
I'm a yes. Mark?
Yes.
And Vanessa, yes.
Yes.
Nice and quick. Next item, I do see, John, we're gonna pull you up because I know you're doing a presentation. And I believe you have someone here as well?
Yes, I do.
All right, so the next item we're gonna go is John Finch from the West Boylston Light Department to present the fiber project, which everyone is excited about. This is exciting.
This is nice that all the people are here for that. That's good.
We can connect it with that if you want. Oh,
I guess we'll grab, have them come up.
All right.
go get them?
Thank you for having me. My name is John Fitch, General Manager of the West Boylston Light Department. Ripple Fiber is actually going to be here to talk about their project. Hopefully, they're right behind me, and they are. So, Stephen, you can come on up. You're getting right into it. And the Light Department asked Ripple Fiber to come tonight because they've already come to the board of the light commissioners to talk about their plan to distribute fiber throughout town and offer internet service to the residents throughout town. So we're working on an attachment agreement presently with them. That's going very well. That'll lead to some make-ready work where we might have to upgrade some poles in town. But for all intents and purposes, they would be an attachment to all the poles and on the aerial right-of-way, and then in the underground right-of-way, they would, of course, do their digging and ditch witching to provide service that way, which isn't a very large percentage of the town anyways. But anyways, the overall project, again, is to provide internet service throughout town. Ripple Fiber has approached us. They've also approached Holden and some other towns and communities. And as soon as you're ready, Steve, you can give your presentation.
Absolutely. So I'm Steve Marr. I'm the Director of Government Affairs with Fiber for Massachusetts. Todd Fargnoli, he runs construction, Director of Construction for Massachusetts. And let me just see, do I just press this little button here? Is that going to link me up? Okay. Let's see what happens. Just have some information, just kind of want to go over with you once we figure this part out. But it's basically the nice bedtime reading material I just handed out to you a minute ago.
Just a condensed version?
Yeah, it's an abridged version. I talk quick, don't worry. I'll try that one more time.
Okay, you made it sound like a push of a button. I thought it was good. Sometimes We're gonna get the experts that we had in the room.
Right. Nothing to see here.
Well, so before that comes up, can you tell us just, a little bit of maybe just a summary?
Yeah,
Of what
no,
you're gonna go over?
absolutely. So to give you an idea, and I think John kind of touched on it a bit, we approached the town a couple months ago, right before Christmas, actually. We met with John to kind of discuss our plans for looking at West Boylston, Holden, Worcester as kind of our initial builds in Massachusetts. Through that conversation, John made it clear that, the whole town was really looking for fiber access or internet access for some competition in town. And that's kind of where we kind of looked at our proposal, because originally we were looking to do about 2,000 homes in the town. But through that conversation, made clear that, working with John was gonna be very easy. So we decided we're actually gonna build out the entire town. So connect all the houses in West Boylston for fiber broadband.
Faye, is he?
If not, we can just run through it. You guys have what I have, pretty much.
Okay.
Or can you get into our Zoom and do a screen share?
I could do that.
Can I take a look?
Yeah.
This is click share, right?
Yep.
This one of these click share. Did it come up?
Proposing internet for everybody.
Plug it back in.
It's Charlie. Charlie's here. Blanchard. Awesome.
Doesn't seem like it's recognizing it usually. So it's
Better lie. Okay.
There's a seat over here. We can't have anyone standing.
There it is.
There we go. So to kind of get started, as Todd's fixing this for me.
See?
Yeah, go ahead, sit down.
Just keep going.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
it'll go up when it's,
Exactly. So basically, give you a little background on Ripple Fiber, who we are, where we come from. Originally, the founder of Ripple Fiber, Greg Wilson, he had started a company in South Africa and had done a build out of Johannesburg, the largest city over in South Africa. He's found the technology they were using, the software they were using was just a lot more advanced than what a lot of other areas were using at the time. Along with kind of a combination of BEAD funding coming into play in the United States, he decided to open up a separate company over in, based out of North Carolina. Based out of Charlotte, they built out several areas in North Carolina, also in South Carolina. And from there, we're now expanding into about 5 different states across the country right now, Massachusetts being one of them. We just broke ground in Michigan, looking to break ground in California and New Mexico, hopefully a little later this year, along with Illinois. And for Massachusetts, again, we kind of targeted areas that currently don't have a second option for internet broadband access and typically have a much slower option. So we're going to areas that typically you'll see kind of have cable as opposed to something a little bit faster, like maybe Fios, which is kind of one of our major competitors. Our system is a little bit different in that sense, and I think you'll kind of see that as we kind of flip through the slides here. But for the most part, and one of the things I think we really like to go over is just to make sure you understand that we're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. We're funded completely through private equity. So we have 3 large equity firms. Greg Wilson, who is our founder, is also the founder of one of the equity firms that is invested in us. So he doesn't plan on getting rid of us anytime soon. So we're going to be around for a while to kind of continue this project and see it all the way through. Typically in a lot of parts of the country, especially down in North and South Carolina, they have very forgiving soil down there. So we usually like to go underground in those areas. Up here in Massachusetts, it's gonna be a little bit different. And that's kind of where our collaboration with the light plant comes into play. Being able to utilize the light plant, the poles there, to put our fiber up on the poles as opposed to burying them. Overall, the project we think will take probably about a year before the entire town is built out. So if we were to start now, probably by hopefully the end of the year, but at the latest probably next March, we'd be seeing the entire town have an option for fiber broadband through Ripple Fiber. Any questions so far?
Well, I was just gonna ask, so it would be on the existing poles that we have today, we'd just run it there to everyone's house. You're not gonna do underground, and we do have one option here, we have some others, but price-wise, are you competitive with what we have in town today, or are your prices higher, lower? What would residents
I would say we're probably pretty competitive.
Okay.
So our first option comes in at, we got it up, at 500 megabits per second. Give you an idea, and I'll actually just, and that comes in at $65 a month.
Okay,
So that is a lot faster than I think what you currently experience. Our lowest package is probably gonna be at least 2 times faster with upload speeds compared to download speeds. Give you an idea right here. We're working on a plan that would give the 500 megabits per second at a lower cost that you would qualify for low-income individuals as well, which is better than any of our competitors have as far as speed and price. That price is probably gonna be somewhere around $45 a month, but we're kind of working that out to see if we're able to afford to put that even a little bit lower for those that can't afford it. And to give you kind of an idea compared to what you have right now. So right now, and here's where I think where our technology is a lot more advanced than what you currently have, and even what some of our competitors that have fiber are doing. So we have symmetrical speeds. So you're gonna get the same upload speeds as you get for download speeds. So when we say 500 megabits per second, you're gonna be getting up to that, downloading and uploading. If you're not too familiar with what that means, if you're on a Zoom call, for example, your download speeds is how you're seeing everyone else. So if they're coming through clear, your download speeds are probably pretty decent. The upload speeds is how everyone else is seeing you. So if you're on a conference call at home and people are saying, hey, you're kind of breaking up, can't really understand what you're saying, hey, you froze, that's because you have really poor upload speeds. So we did a kind of a run test, and this is part of the process where we're looking at different towns to go into. As to what their upload and download speeds are. And that can be done, you can do this at home through a website called Ookla. They're kind of the gold standard for testing speeds at home. So your download speeds on average are about 236, 250 megabits per second, which is adequate for right now. Your upload speeds, however, are 15. So that's probably where I think most people are running into issues when they're online, trying to download things, upload things into cloud storage or anything of that sort. That's where you're going to run into a lot of issues. So we offer the same upload and download speeds, which is overall, I think we find people really satisfied with, which kind of gives into some of the testimonials that we've gotten from builds we've done, from actually going from the street into the homes, the actual installation process. Right now, we're waiving all the installation fees. Being a new company, we're obviously trying to get as many customers on board as possible, so we're making it as easy for people to make the decision as we can. So that includes basically waiving about $200 in installation fees. I'm not sure how long that will last for, but for right now, I don't think we've charged a single person in any of the homes we've gone across an installation fee.
one other question, so.
Yeah.
Not that we ever have any internet problems here in West Boylston, but when you go to call the numbers that are supposed to help you or talk about internet being down, it's not great success. What do you offer for customer service for a community?
Yeah, I mean, we have our call centers. There's 2 different ways, you'd be going about it. If someone was to call you directly, a member of the select board or a member of the administration, you would just call me. And then I would have that escalated and make sure that it's dealt with as quickly as possible. If the general community just wanted to call up to, because they were having an issue, we have a call center, live people talking on the phone, that they can call into, and we can, work out the issues they have from that point.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yes, go ahead.
The light plant has fabulous service. Like, whenever you have any trouble, they're probably at your house in half an hour, Would you be working with them, or would you have your own trucks in the area?
We'd have our own trucks in the area. So any place we go, we're going to open up a physical shop as well.
Okay.
So for people to go in and exchange their equipment, or for us to work out of as far as going out to any issues that people are having.
Okay. Can I ask another question? On the pricing, I appreciate the symmetricalness offer.
Yeah.
But I think some people are gonna be using it for a cable substitute, in which case they're not as concerned. Would you have another tier that maybe doesn't push, doesn't take advantage of the symmetrical capability, and maybe keeps the high download but has the low upload, because all they'd wanna do is watch, Netflix and things coming to them, they don't need to put anything up?
Yeah. So the
It's
system we
just a
use is,
bargain.
the fiber we use is just, it's symmetrical speeds. So there's no kind of lower tier that we currently offer below the 500 megabits, which is still very competitive compared to, I think, what you're gonna see from anyone else.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, I was just looking for sort of a bargain opportunity for people that are just,
Just
I
looking
just
to get
want to
connected.
replace my cable, and if I could come in with a real bargain, and then I can still then I can put on top of that all my streaming services and not really be competing with cable, it'll still be cheaper.
Yeah. The lowest package we offer right now would be the 65 a month,
65.
unless of course it's there's for income eligible, which we'd be able to offer a lower price around 45.
Right.
Did you have a question?
No question, just more clarification. I was looking at the charter prices they've published online versus my own bill.
You're not gonna
So,
help us.
I've got 400 megabits per second, no phone, no cable, because I kind of opted out of the whole charter thing. And that's $77 a month. So to your point, Mark,
Yeah.
the difference in the symmetry.
But I was looking for a bargain.
Yeah, no, I got it.
May I ask a question?
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
What is if you're gonna install it in someone's house, is there any equipment that they need?
That they need, we would supply it, and that's all included in the price.
But what is it? Is it a large? Is it just a small
No, it's
box,
small.
or-
I mean, so we do fiber straight to the home, which is different than I think any other provider in Massachusetts right now. A lot of other providers that do have fiber, they do fiber from the poles, and they might do like a coax straight to the house, and that's why you don't get those same symmetrical speeds that you get with that we have with our network. So as far as equipment goes, it's what you would expect otherwise. It's a basic router. You would probably receive similar sizing, nothing crazy, but we will take the line and bring it straight to your home.
So I imagine they also have a contract with our light department to use the poles for a certain amount of years, or,
It'll be similar to the Spectrum pole attachment agreement.
okay.
So it will be very, very similar. We don't differentiate between companies typically, and it'll be the same rate, so we do treat them fairly and equally, but it's a pretty standard contract.
Is it a long one?
No, it's very straightforward.
Okay. Just wondering. You sound great, this presentation's great, but
We, as of this afternoon, I think we're in agreement with all the terms and conditions.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Sorry to
pretty.
ask, I just figured
Yeah, they're pretty standard. I mean, what John offers to any other provider, he needs to offer something very similar to us. So we'd be paying pretty much the same rates that your current provider offers.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's another one.
Done? Oh, sorry, Mark.
Question for John. What happened to the Sewsbury? We were talking about the Sewsbury, town of Sewsbury, we're getting the cable.
We're still using that as a backup, and we're working on presently wiring up all the town buildings. The town buildings should be wired with fiber by the end of this week. So our backup plan is to continue with the discussions with Sewsbury and Sterling Light, and prepare for a build-out that way. But the first phase of that was getting the public buildings done, and like I said, they should be wired by Friday, and then the following weeks, doing some changeover from the Spectrum services that you have now in each of those buildings to our fiber system. So still working forward on that. It's a backup plan. And, you know, we talk to Stephen and Ripple about that all the time, just to make sure that we don't want to get too far behind ourselves, but let's get this agreement done, and as soon as you start, I can back away. But we do have the plan otherwise.
Thank you, John.
So if you executed, you're saying in a year from now, the residents could have another option and a location to go into a store with this option? So
Right,
you could
yeah.
offer this in a year from now?
Yeah, the location of the store may not be in West Boylston proper, but it would be within a short driving distance. So we're talking, I mean, right now, for example, we're looking at Holden, West Boylston, and Worcester. So we'd be looking probably to triangulate the location somewhere there, unless, of course, we had multiple locations for you to go into. But
West-
we wouldn't be anticipating you driving down, out to Pittsfield.
West Boylston does have a favorable tax rate.
And open storefronts. I don't know if you've looked at any, I could send you some lists.
And lower electricity prices.
And yes, don't want to market it, but if you were.
All right, I have a few questions.
Yeah.
One is about the internet service. Like, are you just gonna contract on the outskirts with Charter or Verizon to get to the internet? Or do you have your own backhaul or something like that to get to the,
So I'm going to turn it over to Todd, because he's much better at all the hard
Okay.
questions.
Our backhaul will be provided, for this area, will be provided by Verizon.
okay, all right. And that's suitable, I mean, you're happy with that? I don't know what the,
Yeah, I mean, they're all fairly, to be honest, they're all quite similar. All the fiber backhaul goes back to your common normal head ends or pops, that, as they would refer to them as. All offer the same sort of light signal, so there's really not much of a variance there.
but there's service guarantees and things like that, like,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yep.
And then, would this be like Verizon for like the demarc? Would you fiber go to the outside of the house on a box, and then what would you have going into the house? Like just network cables, or is the fiber in the house?
A fiber cable, a small, almost like a jumper cable, like a fiber,
And that would go
coax.
to-
Your coax cable's actually bigger than what the fiber cable will look like, that's going into the home.
And then that'll go to someplace in your house where your modem is, and then it'll branch out from there.
Yep,
Can you
the
then-
fiber will actually plug directly into the equipment, yep.
What I'm curious about is like, in my house, I have old-fashioned copper network.
Sure.
Stuff. Will it interface with that at some point so that I can not have to do anything fancy in my house?
The fiber does not interface with your
Well,
copper.
the modem, does the modem then have like a little Ethernet router out of it? Like maybe 4 ports or something that I could connect up to my existing router?
So if you wanted to hardwire things in your house to.
Well, what I'm saying is I already have that in my house that might run on my cable.
That is something I'd have to get back to you on. My area of expertise is more pertaining towards the construction and outside plant
Outside the house,
construction. So our inside the premise, I'm not extremely familiar with the equipment, but we can get back to you on that.
Well, I'm just hoping, you don't have to get back to me as long as it's not anything cumbersome for us.
No,
to use.
it wouldn't be.
Like right now, the coax comes in, like the coax comes to a modem that then gives me Ethernet.
So would you?
I don't care if
would you
fiber comes
be-
in and gives me Ethernet.
Would you be looking to keep your coax service if you?
Not the coax, but like just the cable I have running around my house that goes to like, I think I have something going to a TV here, to a computer here, to something there.
Yeah.
I would like to keep that.
So you're old school, man, is what you're saying,
Well,
right? So
it
with
was-
everything
I did
being
it-
Wi-Fi now, you still like to have your hard wires there.
I did it back when Wi-Fi could get overburdened.
Yeah, right.
So-
Yeah, no, I think I would have to look at the specifications of the actual box that we provide, but I don't have that information with me, I'm
I'd
sorry.
just be interested that it's not cumbersome for the users.
Right,
So,
yeah.
and I
I
assume that it is.
fully understand the premise of your question, yeah, I appreciate that. I think we can get you an answer.
Well, your name's in this packet, right? Mark will email you.
I know,
Sure, yeah. Send me an email. Absolutely. Anybody that has any questions, send me an email. I'll be feel free to
Yeah,
send
you have
anytime.
my cards right in the front there, so if Todd isn't in this packet, which he might not be yet, you can get a hold of me, and I pester Todd all the time.
perfect.
Perfect.
So the next one's maybe more in your wheelhouse. It was about some of the houses, like we've developed, like we have some old school and so we have some new stuff in town. Like some of the houses are new developments where all the utilities are underground.
Sure.
But there's a lot of them that are not. They're still in the poles.
Sure.
I mean, would it be a different anything different between those two customers as far as the customer's concerned? I mean, you're gonna have to dig up their
Are
yard.
you thinking, like Angel Brook area that it's under, I
Angel
don't think,
Brook,
is there,
Hart.
yeah, Angel Brook's underground.
You know, all the new developments that the planning board has put in the last 15 years are all underground, you know?
Yeah, you know, I think that comes down to probably, if there's conduit in the ground already, and if we're
Well,
able to get.
he would know, I think you know what they put in, because you know where it is.
Angel Brook is underground.
Yes, it's underground, but could they chase in that, or do they have to dig their own holes?
There's
Y-
two
y-
separate
there's-
agreements.
yeah,
I don't wanna speak
yeah.
for you, but there is two separate agreements, right?
If there's extra conduits, we'd do a conduit agreement for let them use it. If there's not, they would have to ditch witch or trench.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's part of that fee that we're not passing along?
Yeah, I mean, we're paying for the entire project up front. Like, we're providing all the funding to do the project, so that would include any digging that needs to be done as well, yeah. We wouldn't be charging the homeowner for digging up their lawn, or anything of that sort. We also work pretty hard to make sure that when we do have to do that, we bring it up to as is, you know, as it was, basically.
Go back to
Yeah.
level and,
Equal or better conditions,
Right.
right? Yeah.
good.
All right, so I know we went through part of this. Do you have this deck? Does Faye have this deck if we wanted to publish it so folks can get to it?
Yeah, it's what you.
Yeah, I think I sent you,
Send it
yeah,
electronically.
On our website or on the meeting, sure, just so people can get to it if they couldn't see it.
yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to share? I don't think there's,
No, I mean, there's some technical stuff in here. I don't think you necessarily need that, but look through those packets. If there's any questions you have, please email me. You know, we do like to be good community partners on a variety of,
Perfect.
you know, different levels. So we want to make sure that we're responsive to any questions you get from your constituents or any more questions you have.
it's excited.
Right now, cable provides us with some assistance here in the,
By
with
the end of
this,
the week, I think he said
they're leaving?
no, he's gonna hardwire the building, the town buildings.
Totally different thing,
Yeah.
Mark.
No, but cable TV,
That stays.
right, no, that stays.
That's what.
But when they leave, because there's no more customers and they're all with him, will they provide anything?
No, they're not gonna be cable TV.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's a different, we'll bring, that'll be your future. I don't,
Future agenda item?
future agenda item, that'll be over. All right, we'll go through this. Mark will email you questions.
Fantastic.
If I have any, I'll email, but we'll put this up because we might hear from some residents that get a chance to look over this as well.
Yeah, the only thing I'll leave you with is myself and Todd, we're both local. We're not from anywhere else. I grew up in Massachusetts. Todd grew up in Massachusetts. We're not going anywhere, so you will have someone local to yell at if anything goes wrong, but hopefully
You just log
to-
on to West Boylston Neighbors Connect. That's where your complaints will
That's
go.
all, okay.
Yep.
That's the new way we're gonna get in
If
touch
our
with you.
internet is working. If
Yes,
it's not,
but we definitely want to hear from you either way, obviously, if things are going well, if things aren't going well. You know, once we have the pole attachment agreement done, there's a few more steps that are a little bit laborious to get through, including make ready for the poles. But I think working with John, you know, we're gonna be able to get that done relatively quickly for how long that usually takes. And once we're able to get up and going, you know, we'll reach out as far as talking to you about doing a press release and things of that sort, if that's something you want to participate in.
Oh,
Okay.
would the billing be through your billing? Okay, separate billing?
Yeah.
Okay.
all right.
Awesome.
I'm gonna
Questions? You wanna keep going?
know.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'll let you guys leave unless you want to stay for the rest of the select board.
Oh,
No.
Maybe.
I think
No, you're good?
I think we're gonna.
You guys got a full agenda. We
Are
don't
you
want
sure?
to get in your
All
way.
right.
Yeah.
Right, nice to see you.
Thank you
very
guys
much. Appreciate it.
so much. If you have an extra, will you just leave an extra? Is
Oh,
that your
absolutely,
extra?
yeah.
We'll take, if you leave that with Faye, we'll just take those,
Take the folder.
we'll take the folders.
And if you have pens.
Photocopy
pens
in the
are good, too.
back.
Oh, yeah, you have to get back the click share.
And before we move on, so Zoom was on mute for the beginning of the meeting, and by the time you
So, can we
unmuted us,
mute whoever's talking? Thanks. All right,
Want to do the warrants, or do you want to do the
No,
public?
I'm just gonna do the public one. All right, so I thank you guys patiently for waiting. The next item on the agenda, we're gonna do public comment, which I imagine, that's why many of you are here. It's 15 minutes, we allow the public, depending on how many of you wanna speak. I wanna give you each a fair amount of time, just like we did at the senior center. If folks start to shout over each other, say derogatory comments, or become unruly, I will recess the meeting until we can get ourselves back together. But we'll have, if you don't mind being the timer this time, because I was trying to do it,
Do you want a microphone?
we'll ask that you come up, state your name and address for the record, and we'll give, say, 15 minutes, a minute for each of you.
15 minutes.
15 minutes each?
15 no, a minute per person for 15 minutes, trying to guess how many people are gonna wanna talk.
I'm gonna need a coffee.
So is anyone have public comment? Or are you really here for my meeting? Oh my God, you are. All right. All right, Neil, come on. I was like, there's gotta be one of you. You couldn't have come to the select board meeting.
Either mic works.
Yeah.
Neil Peterson, 67 Malden Street. Want to begin by thanking the board for the opportunity a few weeks ago to have that meeting at the senior center. I thought it was helpful for a lot of residents in town to be able to feel like they had a forum where their voice could be heard on the issue. For the most part, I found that the dialogue was fairly civil and civic-minded, which was nice to see at a town meeting. Clearly, I am not alone here tonight in having some questions and concerns about recent events. Recognizing that the agenda only allocated 15 minutes for public comment, and that there are other items on the agenda besides the one that have already been covered. And also recognizing that public comment is not necessarily a forum for question and answer. So my suggestion tonight, for what it's worth through Madam Chair, is if we do not have the time in your judgment to allocate sufficient time for everyone to have their voice be heard, and potentially have some questions answered, that perhaps another meeting akin to the one that was held a few weeks ago might be valued highly by members of the town, resident public, and might help foster some sense of transparency and trust and confidence in our leadership. So I'll leave my comment at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And it is only 15 minutes, but none of you sent me an RSVP that you were coming, so I probably would have extended it like the senior center one. What I would say is we can't answer questions, but we can take your comment or take what you have to say and put it on a future agenda, or have a bigger session where there's more space. The one thing you will find is this is the hybrid room, and it's a capacity of 49 people, including us. So I can't fit you all in here, but I can fit you all in the senior center, but that takes away the option for folks to be virtual too. So it's kind of a, try to get you all in one place at one time besides a town meeting is a little difficult. But I respect that, and we can add something too so that more of you can be heard. But thank you for that. Is there anyone else in the audience?
Madam
You
Chair,
get this-
rest of the board, my name's Mary Beth O'Day. I live at 41 Winthrop Street, and I've been a resident of West Boylston for 28 years. And I would like to second and support what the gentleman that just appealed to you before me had to say. I think from multiple conversations I've had with lots of folks in town, a lot of people are sharing those sentiments. I realize there's an appropriate time and place for any and all concerns to take place, and that you're limited relative to personnel matters, but I really feel strongly, I am disheartened more than anything else. This is not a time to come and necessarily share, my emotions, but I think what took place over the last couple of weeks does have a fallout effect. It is not a time to point fingers or blame people, but there is going to be an after effect. And subsequent to Jen Wyman's abrupt departure, where, again, the townspeople, and I would imagine everyone would concur with me, we were not privy to anything about that, and that's understandable. I've worked in government for a long time myself, but you're still left kind of wondering and, disturbed about what happened, why it happened, and subsequently, in a very short period of time, another town administrator is hired, and then, what happened took place, but to think that there's not going to be any ramifications from that, or it's not going to affect people that live here, or affect the, I think, very unflattering light that it put on this town by choices that people made, and to have it on the national news, there's no getting around that. So to pretend it didn't happen is not realistic. So I have enjoyed living here. I was proud of my town, but I think this is something that occurred that was very divisive, which I would assume that nobody welcomes. It's just not purposeful, and people, what is the slogan of this town? Small town and a big heart. It doesn't portray itself that way recently. So, whatever we can do to hopefully address it, remedy it, get back to having the reputation that we'd like this town to have, and to, again, not interfere with the process. I think everybody realizes that this is not something that we had any involvement with. People obviously have a lot of feeling about it, but by and large, no matter what, it became public, and it never should have happened. It was a personnel matter, and lots of people didn't have control over what happened, but nonetheless, it did. So if there was an opportunity to have a subsequent gathering where people were allowed, and it was going to be expected that more information could be shared, people, I think, have a need to be heard. As long as it's always kept respectful and civil, I think that would be terrific, and I would be most enthusiastic to support that, and hopefully that would be something that the board could consider.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.
You're terrible at taking time. I have to call you out. He's lost the right for the timer. Do we have?
I can drop the hammer
No,
if you want.
no, but thank you. Come on up. I am gonna, no one likes when I cut you off at a minute. I don't like cutting you off, but we'll be here all night. But I do hear you. We will do something. All right, go ahead. Now I'm gonna keep you to the time, which is not gonna be fair because I didn't keep them to the time. So
I understand.
I'm just acknowledging
I will
that
try
now.
to be brief. I am Lessa Ashwell,
Okay.
139 Woodland Street. And again, I'm just going to voice the same things that we're already hearing, which is that we would like not only to be able to have our comments heard, but really to have some things answered. And as you said, we can give you some of those questions so you can address them. Specifically, things I would like to understand would be the rationale behind the ignored request by Mr. Ryan to mediate the issue with the police chief. Why the select board did not support or even insist on that as a first-line resolution. Why the select board did not honor the request by Mr. Ryan to delay the continuance so that the chief could be at the meeting, as I heard he was on his honeymoon. Why was it such a quick decision that had to be made versus letting him have his voice if he wanted it? And why the town council came into the meeting speaking only on the options and reasonings for firing the town administrator, while there were statements that the decision to fire him was not decided beforehand. The town council only seemed to imply that it was his focus of what the options to fire him would be.
Wrap up, sorry.
Hold on.
Quick.
And rather than laying out both sides for you guys to weigh, so it seemed very biased. And lastly, why the select board does not seem to be taking any known disciplinary actions against the police chief, especially after his statement that he wouldn't even physically protect you guys, or his guys would not, during your recent meeting. So those would be some
Sorry, I have to
questions I
cut
would
you off
have.
because we did a terrible job again. You're losing it. But if you
But those are
send
some questions, yep.
questions, we'll take those.
Okay.
Because I tried to write them, but it's not.
Sure, I was quick. Okay.
All right, thank you so much. I almost think, Faye, you might have to be. You're gonna do
I'll
it?
turn the volume up.
All right.
But
I'm here for the sewers.
No, listen, you're here, all right,
I'm also-
let's do that. Give me a different topic. Now you have a minute, we're not gonna start because, you mark, get set,
What? Oh.
Good.
go, just go.
Hi, folks, everyone in TV land, Ryan Aruda, 4 Westland Circle. Because this is a minute, I have some documents I'll give to you, but just
Okay.
to be a complete follower, echoing the things that everyone before me said. In the vacuum of information, fact-based information, that is where emotional decisions or emotional insights into things take weight. And I think we saw that at the last meeting, where folks are talking about not necessarily the merits of what happened, but their emotional take. And so there's a very fine line between small town charm and small town obfuscation and lack of transparency. So I'd urge you, same thing. Let's have it out, open forum. Let's question answer. We'll have fun. We can talk about sewers if you want to. It sounds very exciting. But may I approach the bench?
The handout questions?
But just this is
Give it, I was gonna say, if you
Okay,
give it to
perfect.
Faye,
excellent. You all get a copy.
we'll get a copy. Time. Oh, that's it. Good job. That was, I don't know if anyone wants to go next, but he did it in a minute. Can you do it in a minute? Come on up. A minute with a handout. And it was kind of fun. All right. Go ahead.
Hey, my name's David Ashwell, also live at 139 Woodland. So my same line of questioning, same line of concerns, particularly also on once the town administrator was let go, concerns that would love to have addressed to the rationale of letting him go with or without cause, what the town is prepared to do should he counter-sue or counteract to the board's decision to fire him in the manner they did. And if that were to happen, and should they be found at fault, what funds that we have prepared to pay this gentleman should the court find that he was wrongfully let go in a town that has already had fairly vocal budgetary concerns in the last year. So those are high-level concerns of me as a resident of the town. I can go down other lines of that, but we're on time, so thank you.
Thank you. You did an excellent job, too. All right, come on forward.
Good evening. Peter Borge, 3 Trail Prospect Street. I've lived here in West Boylston since 1989. I've loved it here. And over the past few weeks, what I've seen in this situation that we're all talking about, I'm just dumbfounded by the process. I absolutely was dumbfounded when I saw your decision. I don't understand the process. And the other thing that I still have in my mind is, regardless of anyone's political persuasion, there should not be any sort of campaign literature within a public building, regardless of where it is. I note that when I was here earlier this evening, Mr. Frieden there asked me to sign his nomination papers, but we had to step outside this building step outside the room to do so. That principle would seem to hold true also for the situation we're discussing. So I look forward to this mass meeting, larger meeting, so to speak, that we're going to have. And I think it's really needed because there's still a lot of undertow right now. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so
Have a
much.
good evening.
Have a nice evening.
You allow for Zoom comments?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Sure, you do have to state your name and address.
Sure. Yeah,
You hear-
Christina Jackson, 318 Sterling Street. So I echo all the other comments, but also wanted to just bring up and ask for this follow-up meeting. So the chief of police's contract ends in March, I believe. So I'd like to understand how the select board will handle and review that renewal based on the recent events and, the conflict of interest violation. So just something else to put on the list. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I can have 2 more people. I know you raised your hand, so I'll have you come forward. Unless you guys vote amongst each other to have someone else, I'm okay with that too. And then, if someone else.
Hi, Sue Gomes, 329 Gooddale Street. I've been in town since 1986, and I just have 2 things that I'm concerned about. If the board consulted with the Mass Ethics Committee to see if the flag was a violation of the Mass Conflict of Interest laws. And secondly, if you looked into whether hanging a flag in a public building is a violation of the Federal Hatch Act, which could influence future federal funding or have current federal funding taken away. So those are two kind of big deals.
I can't answer, I feel like I'm rude because I can't answer your
Yeah.
question because
So
I didn't
I made
answer
a
anyone else's. But
complaint
I
with
did
those,
get
but-
your letter, if you give it to Faye,
Yes.
then we'll
Yeah.
get a copy of it.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you so much. All right. Anyone else online that would like to say something? Okay, well then I get one more person from the audience. No? All right, I'm good. I wanted to make it fully, I know, it's fine.
What?
Basically, what?
Julie Holston, 265 Maple Street. I've lived here since 1995. I'm concerned that we heard a lot about what Mr. Ryan did wrong or could have done better, but we didn't hear a lot about what Chief Minnick could have done differently or better, such as, first of all, following the laws that any kind of political signs shouldn't be posted anywhere in a public building that we all paid for, by the way. So that was the first part. He could have, even if he disagreed with Mr. Ryan, he could have handled it differently and said, I'm going to take it down, but I don't agree with you, or I'm going to also make sure that my fellow police officers keep it down, because that seems to be some of the issue. So we seem to be having more of a problem with how Mr. Ryan handled finding out about the non-compliance rather than the non-compliance, and the fact that threats were made to, one of them has to go, and it all went in the public media, as we all feel. So it's probably more I could say, but I think that's enough, that I just feel like we're not focusing on what Mr. Minnick, or Chief Minnick, could have done differently. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. I know it's not great, but you have 15 minutes. You get 15 minutes every meeting that I have, so if you come to every meeting, I'll be here. But
Unless
I
you
will.
RSVP, and then you can get more. Is that what it was?
All right, so I'm gonna close public comment right now and move on to regular business. So first item in the agenda is to review and vote to approve warrants for the period covering February 19th, 2025 through March 5th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You?
That was good. They were here for all the other stuff, too. That was
So
good.
I have, our next, I'll just give people just a John Finch. So the next item on our agenda is right now, discussion. Sorry, guys, I'm just giving everyone a second to leave. Hey, is it hot in here or is it? Okay, all right. So, next item is discussion and possible appointment of intern town administrator. Right now, we don't have someone, and we might be the select board, but we can't sign things or act as a town administrator in any real capacity. So the discussion is to maybe appoint an interim town administrator until we have someone that is in the role full-time. The recommendation here is to appoint Faye, who's still here every day and helping us in every way she can, but the goal would be to also give Faye a stipend as well, because she's going to be our acting TA, and what does that mean for us? She'll still bring things to the board, but it gives us the ability to have someone that can sign contracts, because we can't do that, help us prepare for town meeting that seems to be right around the corner. There's different warrants that we don't have a town administrator that can sign right now, so I'd open it up for discussion for anyone else, if you have discussion or recommendations or concerns.
Are you looking for a motion?
Unless there is quick, go ahead, Mark.
Do you want to do this?
Oh, we didn't ask that question, but
Sure, for the short term.
Okay. I mean,
that's a good
first.
question. I wasn't, remember that time you voted you on a board that you didn't ask for? You
Lots
voted
of
no?
times.
We still did that.
Yeah, right.
All right, any other question? So this would be, effective immediately. The one other thing that, I'd like to bring up is, due to everything that happened in short notice, Faye actually had some scheduled time off, that she was unable to take because you don't have options, people were calling and we needed to get work done. So I would like a motion to appoint Faye as interim town administrator, credit her back the 3 days that we forced her to work on her vacation, and it would be a stipend of, Ray, 200 a day until we're able to appoint someone.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion or question?
Should we ask her about that too?
No. You're giving her too many options. Do you have any, did I say anything wrong? Do you not want the vacation days back?
No, vacation.
I would.
I'll take another vacation if I can.
Oh,
Just kidding.
that's not gonna be my problem. So. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Next item is to actually interview and discuss the possible appointment of a new town administrator. Heather, who has sat through part of our meeting. Heather was part of our, we had a search committee go out, made up of 2 of us and a few other folks. They interviewed a bunch of candidates. I will actually turn it over to either Jay or Vanessa, because you guys were on the search committee in some capacity on your process, and then a little bit about Heather before I give Heather the floor.
Okay, so, basically, we had people apply, we asked 4 people to interview. Heather was one of 2 that came to the final round. And, do you want me to go over some of the highlights, I think?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, just
Sorry, Heather.
some of the things that I really liked about Heather, her longevity, her budget experience. One of the things that she talked about in her resume is the significant updates to the town personnel policy, which I know that we have to do as well. Some of the grants, and I know that she had a position on here that was specifically working with the grants office. So I think that she's gonna be really good for our needs if she's willing to take on this town. I also did one of her references. This was a town manager, a previous one, and basically what he said was that her dedication and organizational skills were instrumental in ensuring a seamless transition, benefiting both the town and its leadership. That she stepped up to take additional responsibilities beyond her role, showcasing her initiative and capability under pressure. And Heather balances the town's needs with practical solutions that align with the board's agenda. I just thought all that was really great.
In terms of process, I think it's really important to mention here that we did interview several folks in the closed sessions from the search committee. The original plan was that we were going to bring at least 3 people forward for the select board to consider appointing. We chose only 2 because these were the only 2 people that we were going to consider appointing to the position. So what I really want to make clear to everybody listening and to you, Heather, directly, is that this is not second place. This is, we had candidates that we thought very highly of to begin with, and the fact of the matter is she was invited here to talk to the select board because we felt very confident that she would make an excellent town administrator straight away.
To add on, one thing is, she's currently a town administrator in another town.
That I am. Heather, I know you went through the process. I know you sat in front of our board, actually. It seems like a long time ago now, but it really wasn't that long ago. And you had some things that you thought our community could use, and some things you've done in your community. So I hate to make you go through this, but I don't think a lot of the public was tuned in for that meeting. But I think we have a little more folks tuned into. There was a search community, there was an interview process. But I'd love, just tell us a little bit about you, your work, what you've done.
Absolutely. It's lovely to see you all again. I have a couple of general comments. One is, Vanessa, you were looking for ways to enhance engagement in your community. I think you've nailed that. I know this wasn't the type of engagement that we were talking about, but it is. This is an opportunity to turn this into a positive tool in which, you've seemed very open and willing to continue to discuss the situation that occurred very publicly and very traumatically for, it seems like, a lot of your community members. So I think that has potential to be a tremendous positive asset. It just needs, and I think you've already taken the right steps to make sure that happens. Second, I think it's great that you've appointed Faye in interim. That segues into how I sort of became a town administrator. I was in Faye's position time and time again in the town of Athol, where a town manager would serve for a few terms, move on to another community, and there always had to be somebody there to do the work. And that was me. And that happens enough times, and you start to second guess whether or not maybe you should be the one out there doing that. And no, it's not worth it. It really isn't.
Disappointed that she can't leave, so I don't know what to tell you.
Take the stipend, but certainly keeping it in-house and giving Faye that recognition, I think, is another really positive step. So I am glad and support that. I have 6 years as a town administrator in the town of Buckland, where it's a very pastoral community up on Mohawk Trail. I don't know if many of you have visited our Bridge of Flowers, but it is absolutely lovely. It's an ideal community, except for the fact that they have all of the same types of issues that every other town does. So it really doesn't matter the size of a community. And I actually had to address a similar flag issue in that community. And it was a different flag. It was a different period of time, but it was the same issue. It was a request to hang a partisan flag in a public space. The first thing we did was call council, and we asked for options on flag policies. And the board met and had a very lengthy discussion about what level of restrictiveness they were comfortable with to adopt. It was a public meeting. We actually tabled it because, as these types of things do, they raise more questions than they do answers. So I guess that's just sort of some general what I've been doing since, or maybe comments that I could add to the conversation that we had a few months ago. Back to some maybe relative experience. I know that you have a TIP project that is about to kick off, and I have extensive Chapter 90 transportation improvement plan experience. I've done two TIP projects, one that took us 6 years, and another that took us 18 months. We were part of a pilot program by Chapter 90 to see if a TIP project could be accelerated, and we were successful. We were able to, from engineering to final coat, we were able to get that project done in 18 months. It was a big deal. Last week, I was invited to meet with Secretary of Transportation and the governor and present that project because I'm part of a Chapter 90 advisory board. And so I have that transportation connection. I think it's vital to have have our main roads in good condition. What's the name of your social media group? Neighbors Connect. So I bet if cable is your first conversation starter, roads are your second. It is what is visible to your community.
Trash is our second,
Oh,
just so
well,
you know.
no,
And that's not our official one, that's just where I read about what I do every day.
Right, but it's true. I have an entire overtime budget dedicated to paying staff to come into the village every weekend morning and collect trash. And there has been more conversation about what that costs the town, how often they should be doing it, what are they supposed to do with the bags after. I mean, it's a big deal, right? People want their community to look nice. And anyways, I could talk municipal government all night. I know you have other items on your agenda.
I have a few questions for you. So first, I'd say, I've only been on the select board 4 years, and it seems like 10. I did ask you personally. I asked Heather for a reference of an active select board member, which I knew probably was a little uncomfortable. So I'm just going to give you some. I spoke to Joanne on your board, and some of the things I asked her, just so the public is aware. How do you work with others? What is your policy in town hall? How do you engage community members? How do you deal with upset community members? So first one, she said that you have managed in the period of time that you were there, what she would call an A team. That the folks in the town hall, even if limited, you guys are a strong unit, that she doesn't want to lose you. You've been instrumental in bringing grants in and money into the town when most haven't. But she understands that, they're not going to grow. Kind of like West Boylston, if we doubled in size, it'd be 14,000 people. We're never, we're not going to be the next Worcester. She talked about your grant, your organization. She did talk about, a situation with a member of the public who was very distressed, and kind of how you have an open door policy where it's, come and talk to me, and you're a member of the town hall, you work well with others, but you're also very there for community members. Your door isn't closed, you don't push them away, you open kind of dialogue and conversation. That is everything I think of when I think of small town, big heart. We're a town where, Bob will show up every Tuesday to town hall at 2 just because it's on his way, and he'll say hi to everyone. And
His name's Mark.
That's Mark. Mark will show up. But we all know each other. We had the same small town.
Absolutely.
We're all the same people that volunteer for every single board. Every one of us know each other, and depending on what cycle of the month, whether it's budget or capital improvement or school, we like each other or don't. It just depends on where we are and what's happening in town hall. But it's a really small community. She thought you would do great in that, and this would be, even with everything going on, she thought that you would do great in that, and she gave you a great recommendation, which did soothe me, but I figured the board was not aware of that, so I would at least give you in the public kind of my reference check, just an active reference check of someone sitting in the seat. Any other questions? I know you have.
No question per se. I'm appreciative of the fact that you're willing to give us a second chance. When you take a look at the town and you see how important it is to everybody that was here this evening, certainly to the folks here on this board, this place is really important to us, and that you're willing to look past some of the unpleasantness of the last 6 weeks or so and see what we see here. I really appreciate that. And to my earlier statement, you really were, one of the strongest candidates in that pool. We only brought 2 of you forward, and the fact that you're willing to consider us again is really important to me. So I appreciate the fact that you're sitting here this evening.
I appreciate it. I had a really great conversation with you all, and I didn't walk away from that experience feeling that I was less than, just that you had made a decision that was, at the time, a better fit for your community. So there were no hard feelings, and certainly no negative. I just figured it really wasn't the right time for me to move on. So.
Vanessa, Mark, any questions?
I prepared just a question, just to see how, I don't know. How comfortable are you with debt exclusions and overrides in educating the town on a budget request like that?
Well,
see, we're always in a cycle.
Yeah,
It
we get a
depends.
cycle back. So I have worked with my community through a successful debt exclusion override in Buckland. I did work with the town of Athol, which is the community that I was that I worked for 16 years prior to moving out to Buckland, on 2 debt exclusion overrides. One was for a library building, and the other was for was a 2.5 override, which was for firefighter coverage. Debt exclusion has a much better chance of passing simply because people can see what the tangible takeaway is. There's an innate distrust of a Proposition 2.5 override, and I think you have to work twice as hard to demonstrate where that need is, and I've done it. We've done it successfully, and I certainly understand the mechanism of it. I understand the process, and I think that you know, it's a tough sell. People don't like their taxes to go up if they're not going to get a new building out of it. But it isn't impossible. So happy to explore that further, but that's my initial experiences. I'm willing to take that on if that's the direction that the community feels it needs to go in.
Another?
Nope.
I'll just thank you for giving us, coming back.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I mean, thank
Absolutely.
you for our
And
apparent lapse in judgment. Thank you for coming back again.
It wasn't. It was a learning experience.
Or a learning experience. Okay, great.
Right?
There
It was
you
a
go.
learning experience.
Okay, thank you for allowing us our learning experience,
They're tough.
coming back to us.
All right, go ahead.
How are you going to manage the commute?
How am I going to, well, this is a shorter commute that I'm doing now. I am I was traveling from, I live in the town of Athol. Athol to Athol was too short of a commute. Athol to Concord was too long of a commute. Athol to Buckland is a manageable because you're going the opposite direction. But it's also a little longer. I don't anticipate there being any trouble. I've never had anybody find or challenge the number of hours that I'm in the office. But if that does become an issue and you feel that the commute is taking away from my office time, we can certainly talk about that. So,
Thank you.
yeah. I just might come in, you know, a little hot sometimes.
All right, no further questions. I'll let you get out of the hot seat for a second. We have a few items and then Faye, I know you have, do you wanna? Let's do
So
Faye
we
has
we don't
something.
have a town administrator report on here, but I have a couple things that have come in that I just think that are good community announcements. So I had applied for, and I was happy to see that we received a Maya grant on the amount of $9,199. So we have a couple projects that will get done, couple items for the DPW here at Town Hall. We're gonna get rid of the water bubblers, as we call them here in New England, that nobody touches, to water refill stations. So hopefully we can cut down on some costs maybe of buying the bottled water that we buy. The second thing I want to announce is we got a letter from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts about our Chapter 90 funds. So those were announced, so I'm happy to say that for fiscal year '26, we are going to receive $461,089.83. And I let the town accountant know, so she has that. And the last thing, but not least, is our town clerk, Damian Bartek, recently went through the process of taking her town clerk test. So I'm happy to announce that she has successfully passed that, and she is now a certified town clerk. So congratulations to her. And that's all I have.
Does it mean she needs more salary?
That's not on the agenda. All right, so appointments, I'm very happy about this. We have two town administrator appointments. Bob O'Connell, I don't think he volunteers for enough stuff in town, so what's one extra board? And Carrie Callahan are both volunteering for the Town Scholarship Committee effective March 6, 2025 to expire April 30th. Bob is April 30th of 2026 and Carrie is April 30th of 2027. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. See if they want to sign up for anything else too, just extend it. We have a resignation from Kelsey Hoag for the Transportation Committee effective February 26, 2025. We don't vote on that, we're just acknowledging it happened.
So there's another opening.
There's another opening to see if Bob wants to get on that one. Town administrator appointment of Deb Potvid? Okay. The Council on Aging effective March 6, 2025 for a term to expire on April 30th, 2025. Before we have a motion, there was another application that came in after our prior town administrator had met with Deb and appointed Deb and was bringing her to this meeting. So we didn't find out till after, but because of that happening, it's not fair to kind of go back through that. So just so you guys are aware, if you see anything, now, is there a motion
I
to
just have
appoint?
one other note. So the Council on Aging Director did call me because the expiration is April 30th, 2025. The reason is because it's filling a vacancy, so the reappointment will happen along with the group of others. So it's like just being appointed till April 30th of right now.
And then it will be,
will,
okay.
yeah.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further question, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm gonna botch this one. So town administrator appointment of Laura Granali? Granali, Jesus. Generelli, the townwide planning committee, effective March 6, 2025, for a term to expire June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Is that filled now? I know we needed like 13 people. We have all 13.
We do. And we're gonna have our first meeting soon.
I am that's awesome. I can't believe. All right. So item that is on the agenda that we're passing over, there was a solid waste advisory committee update on trash and recycling, and they're working on the contract. The chair is not feeling well and was unable to attend this meeting, so we're passing it over, but they will have information, critical information, Ray, for us. I'm thinking soon. I see ya. So the other item also we're passing over is the executive session for strategy on non-union personnel, collective bargaining around the, our health insurance. We're passing that over because the IAC did not make a decision today in their meeting, so we have nothing really to act on in our meeting today. The next item, just want to make sure I didn't miss anything because of all my notes. Okay.
No, I think we're
No?
good.
All right, so the next item, so, right now, I would say I'm gonna consider entering into executive session under the provisions of
Sorry, you missed future agenda items.
future agenda items.
Yes, I have one.
Okay.
I was just like, I don't know what we're gonna call it or anything, but some more formal complaint process that we could put in place, just so that maybe we can figure out a way where the complaints all go to the same place, and then maybe the select board gets them, just to put that in a future agenda item to just consolidate and make sure that we're all getting the same information.
Right, so we do have a policy. It is very outdated, 2010, actually. So it's something I think at the next meeting, we could have that policy reviewed and start the discussion on how to correct the, fix it or make it better.
I do have one.
Go ahead.
So maybe not now, maybe in another couple of meetings, the flag policy. That's one thing we do need it. Currently, we do not have any town flag policy.
Yet.
We do not have it now.
So, okay,
Mark?
no? Mark?
Oh, no, I think the flag policy is part of
Well,
the
no, I
sign
mean, any
policy.
future,
Oh, sorry. No, I'm good,
No.
whatever, I'll make it up later.
do you have any future agenda items?
Sure? No, nothing right now. No, I'm okay for right now.
All right,
You're only encouraging them.
you're only encouraged, yeah, so,
We are on for
Considering-
ratings.
consider entering into executive session for the provisions of Massachusetts General Law 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 2, to conduct strategy session in preparation for a negotiation with a non-personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining session or contract negotiation with a non-union personnel, town administrator. As chair, I believe it would be detrimental to do that in public. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We will reconvene in open session. I know it's on the agenda, but I'll say it aloud. Raj?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mark?
Yes.
Vanessa?
Yes.
All right, so we'll go for a short recess and be back. Our agenda is the ratification and approval of the town administrator's contract. For Heather Butler, the terms are from April 14th, 2025 to April, I just lost my, 2028, sorry, April 13th, 2028. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
All in favor?
Do we need a second?
Second? Jay, second? All in-
moved.
Moved? Do you want a second? No,
Mark said second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, meeting closed.